Today, a verdict of not guilty on all 6 counts for police officer Connor Grubb. It's a moment that carried clear, raw emotion throughout the courtroom.
We, the jury, upon our oaths and law and evidence in this case, find the defendant not guilty of murder as charged in count 3 of the indictment.
The murder charge carried significant weight for both sides. Minutes after being dismissed, Grubb was seen hugging his lawyers. Today, members of Grubb's team acknowledged that a woman's life was lost and her unborn daughter, which is not something taken lightly. This was the moment Young's grandmother reacted to the verdict.
Mr. Grubb, you're hereby discharged.
Very difficult watching that. Such a sobering moment in that courtroom as the judge tried to speak, telling Connor Grubb that he was dismissed and he was free to go.
10 TV's Lacey Crisp was in the courtroom today when the verdict was read. She's been there from the moment this trial started. Lacey, what was the feeling in there like? We even saw kind of a moment of relief from Connor Grubb, and you said he had some tears in his eyes.
He did. You can feel the emotion in the courtroom as Judge David Young read the verdict to all 6 charges. Now, this has been a long time in coming. The shooting happened more than 2 years ago. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Now, the jurors deliberated over 2 days, 7 hours throughout those 2 days. And around 10:30 this morning, they reached their verdict. Now, when the jurors walked into the courtroom today, they didn't make eye contact with anyone. They just kept walking straight ahead. But as Judge Young read the verdict, several of those jurors had tears in their eyes. Now, as you said, I was in the courtroom when the verdict was read. I sat right in front of Takai Young's grandmother, Nadine Young. She was overcome with emotion. She was yelling and crying, and family members and some of the deputies actually had to escort her out of the courtroom. And defense attorneys explained after the verdict announcement that Grubb hasn't decided what he's going to do now.
What he told us is thank you so much, and he started to cry, and so did his wife, and they have other things to say, but that's between them, and they're going to need some time on this.
Have they talked about his plans for the future now?
We haven't talked to them about that. It's
one day at a time.
Yeah, it's one day at a time. If it's a not guilty verdict and your life goes on, you're always affected. Like we said in this case, everyone in that courtroom is affected from this, and it will impact them for the rest of their lives.
So I also reached out to Blendon Township, and Chief John Belford said in a statement, "This was a tragic event. Now that the jury has cleared him of any criminal wrongdoing, I'll be recommending to the trustees that they approve of putting Connor Grubb back on paid leave." Reporting live, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Lacey, thank you for your excellent coverage throughout this. And as Mark Collins said, this was a very emotional case.
Yeah, we clearly saw that emotional video again of Takaya's grandmother reacting to the verdict and expressing her grief. Our reporters at the courthouse also witnessed some of the jurors crying as well.
10 TV's Rochelle Aline was in the hallway for that moment. And Rochelle, the family didn't speak, but we did hear from those representing them.
We did. I do want to focus on the family really quickly. You heard those cries inside the courtroom. We were in the hallway and could hear the family crying from the hallway. We watched as her grandmother walked outside. She collapsed into somebody's arms. She was crying. She was asking, why is this happening? How is this happening? And we watched as she was eventually escorted to the elevators and eventually left the court altogether. Now, special prosecutors were brought in from Montgomery County to try this case. We heard from them earlier today. They said the heart of this case is whether or not use of force was justified. They told journalists the jury's verdict spoke to that, and they added that they respected their decision, but they also recognized that Young's family feels differently.
You know, it's an emotionally charged case. It's a difficult case, I think, from both sides, obviously, for the families from both sides of things. And unfortunately, at this time, I've not yet had a chance to sit down with Takaya's family and to get their their thoughts, obviously their emotions. Certainly, I'm confident to say they're disappointed in the verdict.
And this isn't the only case that the Young family has in connection to this incident. They have actually filed a civil suit, a wrongful death suit in connection to this incident. Doug?
Rochelle, thank you very much. As you mentioned, there's a civil case coming up as well.